So what's the problem with side effects and what are side effects to begin with? For that, I again created a starting project, which you'll find attached. And it's a very simple project, a Node.js project here, but it doesn't matter. You can have side effects no matter if you're on the back end or front end. And in this project, we have a very simple app.js file where I'm just importing some functions. And then I'm calling the generate report data function, and to that function, I pass another function, the log function. I'm not executing the function here, I'm just passing it as an argument to another function. That's important. And I then call another function store data, which receives the data which seems to be returned by generate report data. Now, if we take a look at those functions starting in data.js here in the source folder, then we see that these are very simple functions. Dummy functions for this demo, which do have some problems which we'll learn about and solve in this course section though. Generate report data takes this log function, as it seems, which is called if it is received, and which then receives the data that is generated. And of course here the data is just some dummy data. In reality that could be data that is kind of calculated or fetched from a database or anything like this. Here it's some dummy data. And that data is then also returned at the end. Store data is an async function because it does call write data, which is a function that yields a promise, as you can see here. And hence we're awaiting this promise here, and hence this is an async function. We also check if we maybe don't have any data, in which case an error would be thrown. And write data receives two arguments, the data and then a file name, as it seems. And if we take a look at that function in the io.js file, we indeed can see that in write data, I am writing to the file system. I'm using two Node.js APIs for that, and you don't need to know Node.js. All you need to know is that these are modules that are built into Node.js. You don't need to install them. And it's also not code written by you. Instead, this comes with Node.js. And the path module gives us the path object, which for example has a join method, which we can call to construct a path where I want to store a file. And then here I'm importing the promises property, the promises object from the file system module. I give it an alias, and on that object I then have a write file method which takes such a path and some data, and which then indeed creates a file in that location and saves that data in that file. And write file returns a promise, and since I returned the result of write file here, I am returning that promise. Last but not least, in logger.js, I have a very simple log function, which simply uses console log to log a message to the, well, console. And that log function is that function which is imported in app.js and which is then passed to generate report data, where it then is executed. That's the setup we have. What's wrong with it? Well, nothing is wrong with it. We can run this code. For this, we should create a data folder because we'll try to write the file into that folder. And then you can open the terminal and run node app.js, and then it will print this dummy data to the console because of this line. And it created a new file here in the data folder, data.txt, where it also saved that data. That's what the app does. And this works absolutely fine. The only problem we have with this is related to tests. And to show you this problem, let's write a test for io.js.